"I am the only God" begins in the vast land of China. The God who held the laws of heaven and earth has perished, and with the laws unbound, the forces of darkness are poised to engulf the land. Ning Shen is an ordinary guard at the Kanglan Palace. By chance, he obtains the power to devour souls, dramatically increasing his cultivation base. Today, like any other day, Ning Shen diligently cultivates, striving to become a true expert. Since joining the Huiyu sect at the age of 16, he has trained tirelessly day and night for 2 years. Despite his efforts, Ning Shen has only reached the introductory stage of cultivation. However, 10 days ago, he acquired a power called Soul Devouring. By absorbing the essence of precious stones and metals with this ability, he easily broke through to the 3rd level of the Kai refining realm. While reveling in his newfound strength, he was confronted by Deputy Commander La, who accused Ning Shen of attempted theft. La threatened Ning Shen, offering to let him go if he knelt and apologized. Unintimidated, Ning Shen refused. As punishment, La forced him to carry water for 10 days, threatening to withhold food otherwise. While carrying out this chore, a summons arrived, and Ning Shen rushed back. Today's mission was to escort the princess. As they discussed the details, a beautiful woman emerged their princess. Not only was she considered the most beautiful woman in the emperor's court, but her talent was undeniable. At nearly 16, she had already reached the 5th level of the spirit communication realm. On their journey, Ning Shen realized the princess had traveled to Bich L-1EC5U mountain 5 times in just 2 years. This time, the urgency of the trip piqued his curiosity, prompting him to wonder what had happened. As they traveled through a narrow passage, Commander La halted the group and ordered Ning Shen to scout ahead. Deputy Commander La, seeing this, volunteered to accompany and assist Ning Shen. The commander readily agreed. Ning Shen, keeping a close watch, spotted a golden giant bear playfully tussling with a rabbit. As he observed, that deputy lay arrived. He intended to help Ning Shen, but in the most childish way possible. He lured the bear towards Ning Shen and then promptly climbed a tree, leaving his comrade to fend for himself. Ning Shen subsequently received a thorough thrashing from the golden giant bear. Seeing this, Ning Shen employed some techniques he had cultivated 10 days prior. Unexpectedly, they proved effective against the bear, scaring it off in a hurry. Lost in thought, Ning Shen sensed someone nearby and went to investigate. He discovered the sect leader plotting an ambush against the princess's troops. The sect leader planned to capture the princess and eliminate the rest of her forces. Upon witnessing this, Ning Shen rushed back to inform the commander. However, instead of reporting the ambush immediately, Ning Shen first complained about Deputy La's betrayal and the resulting bear attack. The commander dismissed Ning Shen's account, reasoning that a level 1 cultivator like him couldn't possibly survive an encounter with a level 3 bear. To everyone's surprise, Ning Shen shyly revealed that he had, in fact, reached level 3. The commander, upon verifying this, was astonished, and the others agreed that Ning Shen was now qualified to be promoted to deputy commander. The princess, having confirmed Ning Shen's newfound strength, resolved to deal with Deputy La upon their return. Setting that matter aside, Ning Shen finally reported the planned ambush to the commander. Seeing this, the commander decided to report to the princess. After explaining the situation, they released a bird to scout the area. The commander believed that if her brother, the princess's brother, were involved, his life would be in grave danger. When the bird confirmed the truth of the situation, the princess declared Ning Shen had achieved a great feat and immediately appointed him as the deputy commander of the Haoyu Guard. Once her brother was on equal footing with the other deputy, surnamed La, he taunted him mercilessly, infuriating him. This time, they decided to take a smaller road to the Bai Liu mountain villa, with Ning Shen leading the vanguard alongside the commander. After a long journey, they finally arrived. This brother, Xuan Feng, was naturally gifted with a strong sensitivity to wine. He had already reached the 5th level of the Tongzhou realm, and it was rumored he had hopes of breaking through to the 6th level of the Tongling realm this year. Without much ado, he led everyone inside. After safely escorting the princess into the Bai Liu mountain villa, the Haoyu Guard soldiers went to rest after their arduous journey. Once in his room, Ning Shen was presented with the deputy commander's armor by the commander, his sister. She advised him that as the deputy commander, he shouldn't provoke Deputy La any further. Furthermore, the rear mountain was forbidden ground, and he was not to enter it under any circumstances. If anything were to happen there, even the commander herself wouldn't be able to save him. Upon hearing this, Ning Shen agreed but couldn't resist teasing his sister, causing her to blush and swat him playfully. After their business concluded, the commander ordered Ning Shen to stand guard duty that afternoon with the others. Upon hearing this, our boy decided to lie down and rest to gather strength for the evening shift. However, after resting for a bit, he decided to get up and cultivate. The power of the spirit god had already helped him rise to the rank of deputy commander. While chilling, he sensed a surge of essence emanating from the back courtyard and decided to investigate. He donned his deputy commander uniform with an air of arrogance and went out. But the first thing he saw was that Deputy La. Following the commander's orders, Ning Shen engaged in a brief verbal sparring match with him before deciding to leave. Along the way, every soldier bowed to him, making Ning Shen feel like he was in paradise. After walking for a while, he reached his destination. Without further ado, our boy cultivated for a bit before leaving. Unbeknownst to him, however, someone had been observing him. Evening arrived, and it was Ning Shen's turn to stand guard. He stood before a stone slab marked with a handprint. This handprint was left by an ancient figure possessing immense power. Without overthinking it, Ning Shen decided to cultivate a little more, hoping the essence within the stone might benefit him somehow. While chilling, he was suddenly flung into another world. There, he encountered a powerful secret manual called the Diamond Hand. Ning Shen believed this was the effect of the spirit-devouring technique helping him, as until now, our boy had solely focused on cultivating his true Kai without any true Kai martial skills. Therefore, Ning Shen immediately focused his mind on mastering it. After finishing, he tested it out and, sure enough, this martial skill possessed incredible power. Dinner time arrived, and Ning Shen was about to head off to eat when he noticed someone's presence. He went to investigate. Upon their first encounter, Ning Shen was greeted by a seemingly effortless attack. However, his opponent, already at the profound realm, 4th level, quickly overwhelmed him. Just as things looked grim, Ning Shen, having recently acquired the Diamond Fist technique, unleashed a flurry of blows, tiring his adversary to the point of retreat. At that moment, the commander and the princess arrived. Witnessing Ning Shen, a mere 3rd level profound realm cultivator, easily routing a 4th level opponent, the princess was baffled. Ning Shen explained that the stone he had found had granted him the power of the Diamond Fist. Unconvinced, the princess demanded a demonstration. Ning Shen obliged, leaving everyone astonished. However, the princess, suspicious of Ning Shen's string of recent, effortless accomplishments, proposed a test. She challenged him to spend a night in the martial arts pavilion, which housed over 10 extraordinary martial skills. If he could master one by morning, his innocence would be proven. With that, she instructed Xiao to escort him there. The Martial Arts Pavilion, a forbidden zone of the Bich L-1EC5U estate, comprised more than 10 buildings, including the stone, all unearthed from ancient ruins a decade prior. Access was primarily granted to those of noble birth, further fueling Ning Shen's excitement. Without hesitation, he began his training, quickly grasping something profound. Recognizing his talent, the princess led him to the Roaring Dragon's secret technique for further cultivation. Before Xiao departed, Ning Shen shared some information regarding the assassin who had attacked him earlier. After learning the truth, Ning Shen was about to escort Commander Zai out when he ran into Deputy La. He was there at the princess's behest, to ensure no untoward behavior occurred inside. Commander Zai, in the middle of flirting with a handsome man, was interrupted by Deputy La. Annoyed, she ordered him to guard carefully, lest he lose his head. Ning Shen went back inside, ignoring the fool's rambling. After a period of adjustment, he achieved battle form, delighting Ning Shen, who then turned his attention to the Roaring Dragon's howl skill. With swift and dangerous speed, he mastered it in under 3 seconds. Next came the ancient summit vase. After cultivating for a while, Ning Shen felt his inner Kai surging powerfully, confident he could even take on a 5th-level spirit-severing realm cultivator. Outside, Deputy La, while observing, was approached by Commander Leng, who offered him a drink. Commander Leng teased him about his feelings for Commander Zai Yi and La Shen, leaving him melancholic. Then, Commander Leng gave him a gift and departed, leaving Deputy La overjoyed. Meanwhile, Ning Shen had achieved the 9-winged sword lotus, surprising the princess who was watching from afar. She thought he might be resentful of her earlier suspicion, but saw this achievement as a reward, hoping he wouldn't be angry. The person responsible for the planned assassinations was the palace master of the 5 Elements Palace of the 6 Green Cities, also a disciple of the princess's father. The princess had sent Jade Eagle to inform her father, but its continued absence led her to believe it had been intercepted and killed. Suspecting infiltration within the Green Willow Mountain, the princess urged Ning Shen to secretly leave and report to her father as soon as possible. The reason your elder sister left you at the martial arts hall was to ensure you acquired enough skills to be as safe as possible on your journey. After reporting to the emperor, you were to return quickly. However, while traveling, you were ambushed and chased by a man calling himself Chen, who of the 5 Elements Palace and an assassin. Without hesitation, Ning Shen swiftly eliminated the fat one. He easily captured the other, but as he was about to deal with him, Xuan Feng played dirty and attacked from behind. Fortunately, the princess protected you. It turned out this Xuan Feng was her older brother, the 3rd prince. She couldn't believe he'd betray his own father like that. Furious, the princess confronted her foolish brother, only to be countered by the palace master. He revealed that Bichlu Mountain Villa had been captured by the 2 men's forces. Unfazed, the princess stated that Bich's son had a protective formation, rendering it impenetrable. They assumed the formation only worked with her present, but she revealed that you could activate it too, infuriating them to the point of attacking. The princess instructed Ling Shen to go for reinforcements, saying she'd handle the situation. However, the palace master wasn't stupid. He kept her occupied while Xuan Feng went to find Ning Shen for a one-on-one showdown. Ning Shen, utilizing his newly acquired skills, easily defeated Xuan Feng, causing him to vomit blood and flee in terror. Ning Shen then continued on to the Tiger's Might encampment to report. By nightfall, Ning Shen arrived and immediately rushed to report to the Grand General. To lend weight to his words, he produced the princess's jade pendant as proof of his connection. Without further ado, he recounted the entire situation, hoping the general would dispatch troops to provide aid. However, the general, skeptical of the words of a seemingly insignificant person, insisted on verifying the information before taking action. Unsure of what to do, Ning Shen was greeted by a man named Ngo Duck. Ngo Duck, believing Ning Shen's account to be highly plausible, advised the general that assisting the princess would further endear him to his majesty. Persuaded, the general immediately ordered 3,000 troops to Bichlu Mountain Villa to provide assistance. After the troops departed, the general questioned why Ning Shen had come to him instead of going directly to the inner city. Ning Shen explained that the princess suspected treachery within the royal palace. He urged the general to send men to investigate if he remained doubtful. Upon hearing this, the general dispatched men to verify the claim, while Ning Shen was taken to be fed. Just as he was about to eat, Ning Shen felt a sharp pain in his stomach. It turned out he had been poisoned by someone present. As the young man who poisoned him drew a knife, seemingly intending to finish him off, Ning Shen, having managed to purge the poison from his system, delivered a powerful blow, knocking the young man unconscious. Ning Shen dragged the idiot to the general. After learning the truth, the general knocked some sense into the fool and demanded a confession. However, the man chose to kill himself rather than reveal anything. Ning Shen, while cultivating, suddenly realized he had unknowingly reached level 4. Amidst his joy, thunderstorms and gales erupted, decimating the surrounding army camp. Fortunately, the Grand General arrived to protect everyone. It turned out the chaos was caused by Lei Dongtia. He had previously attempted a coup, vying for power and the sacred staff, but failed and was sealed in the Black Prison. However, today, a shadowy figure known as the Lord had freed him. Without a word, Lei Dongtiu unleashed his power on everyone present. Seeing this, Ning Shen decided he must return to Bai Liu Mountain Villa to save the people there. The general agreed and immediately engaged the traitor in battle. But the soldiers of the Lei Dong clan had no intention of letting him escape easily, and gave chase, brandishing their weapons. However, they didn't know that our protagonist had reached a new level of power. With just a few moves, he sent several of the foolish soldiers flying and continued his escape. On his way, he encountered a foul-smelling miasma, from which several shadowy figures emerged, launching attacks at Ning Shen. Seeing this, he fled for his life. A figure emerged from the smoke, boasting that after killing 3,000 soldiers, he had just attained the 7th level of the Thong Yu realm and intended to cultivate the Yu Min Ghost King technique. Meanwhile, Ning Shen was running as fast as his legs could carry him towards the Bitch L, I1EC5 U mountain estate. He reasoned that even if the outside was occupied by fools, the inner defenses, with Xiao Nai's protection, would hold. Without hesitation, Ning Shen punched the gatekeeper aside and ran towards Xuan Feng. But instead of fighting, he simply ran past him to enter the estate. Xiao Nai was about to open the gate for him when others tried to stop them. But Xuan Feng did nothing, allowing Ning Shen easy passage, much to his fury. As the two were chatting, the princess arrived, instructing them to follow her. It turned out that Yu Diu was a bird, and while delivering a message, it had been injured by a white owl. To avoid being beaten, it fled to Long Ai Temple, only to discover a civil war there. Seizing the opportunity, Yu Di escaped and returned here. Seeing this, Ning Shen believed there was still hope for the capital, as the enemy's goal seemed to be simply capturing the princess to threaten the king. However, the princess believed that the disparity in strength between our army and those ignorant outsiders was significant. Therefore, the immediate priority was to rapidly increase our military strength. The following morning, Xiao Nai carried Ning Shen to the Zhang Wu Tower for training to enhance their abilities. Upon entering, they heard a shout from within the peak. During their investigation, they discovered a hidden opening that led them inside. It turned out that Deputy Commander Lei had been possessed by something, leaving him on the verge of death, yet still desiring to use Ning Shen for revenge. Seeing the man's tenacious spirit, Xiao Nai jokingly made some remarks about his personal life, infuriating him but surprisingly proving effective. Emboldened, Ning Shen continued to taunt him with more jokes, unexpectedly resolving the possession entirely. After being brought outside, everyone discovered that while evading a bear, La had been marked by it, causing the peak to no longer recognize him as a human. Upon learning the truth, Ning Shen, feeling their teasing was well-intentioned, was immediately thanked. While playfully joking around, something else occurred, prompting the three to rush outside. It turned out to be a white owl that attacked people every half hour. Seeing this, Ning Shen concluded that the defense system of this place was extremely poor and needed to be addressed. Hearing this, Lao Fu immediately demonstrated an assassination technique from above for the two to see. However, he accidentally pulled out a tree without realizing it, causing the two to lose interest and intend to leave. Seeing this, he pulled out a leaf and used his skill to launch it high into the air, shooting it directly at Bai Qian, injuring it. It turned out this person had only reached the 5th level of the Enlightenment realm, but unfortunately, a green light shone from his head, prompting Ning Shen to attack him several times. After a period of messing around, they got down to business. Xiao Nai was the first to enter the peak, while the two brothers competed to see who could cultivate the martial art first. At this time, all three focused on cultivation, but Ning Shen was the one who surpassed all to master the ability to fly. While wondering why Sister Xiao Nai was taking so long, the Countess arrived. She said that because the two Fu brothers had reached a higher level of strength than her, they must be concentrating on cultivation. The Countess then told him to follow her to the back garden. There, Ning Shen heard a heartbeat within a type of fruit. Xuan Feng, who was guarding the tree, had previously reported a change. Unexpectedly, it turned out to be a trap set to capture her. Hearing this, Ning Shen declared he would do his utmost to protect the Countess. Xuan Feng had already destroyed all the fruit. The Lady Regent said that since the ancient era of the 10,000 races struggle for dominance, when the human race ultimately triumphed, some foreign tribes fled. These tribes developed numerous methods to extend their lifespans, such as being born in stone, in water, and, most remarkably, in trees. Their years spent living amongst plants and trees transformed them into spirit tree battle forms, steadily increasing their fighting strength. The imperial court believed that the two fruits were twin life and death destinies. If these twins possessed spiritual energy, their blood would be a pale yellow. Unfortunately, they were killed from within by Xuan Feng. Hearing this, Ning Shen immediately urged the Lady Regent to go to war. After discussing strategy, she agreed and followed his advice. Currently, the enemy is everywhere, even within the capital. Therefore, we must find a way to escape and kill Lu Qingjai, obliterating the Wuzing Palace. Then, we can freely assist the Grand General. The Lady Regent readily agreed. Afterwards, Ning Shen went to Xiao Nai to investigate. Unexpectedly, she had attained new power. Once she comes out, he will inform Fu Lei that they will march to war tomorrow. While Ning Shen was cultivating, he heard the cry of his white crow. He rushed out to see what was happening and saw that Deputy Law was shooting at it repeatedly, but the bird wouldn't fall. Ning Shen then showed off his skills, surprising everyone. Without a word, his spirit shot forward to chase the crow, but it had already flown back to where the rebels were. Without hesitation, Ning Shen displayed his power, unleashing a flurry of feathers that knocked those fools to the ground. Just as he was about to catch the crow, he was stopped by the sect leader. Infuriated, Ning Shen laid into the idiot, landing several punches that left him sprawled on the ground. When the disciples tried to challenge him, Ning Shen activated a newly cultivated skill, scaring the crap out of them. The sect leader, terrified, abandoned his followers and ran for his life, only to be intercepted by Ning Shen. At this moment, the princess's troops had entered the courtyard to fight the enemy soldiers. Just as they were displaying their prowess, an extremely dangerous man approached. He easily wounded many of them, but fortunately, the princess appeared to stop him. This man was Ngo Duck, who had reached the 7th level of the UC letter 1A3NH Lin realm. Without hesitation, the two clashed in a fierce battle. However, TUNHI believed that the princess, having just reached the 7th level, would struggle against this opponent. They both agreed that only Ning Shen could help the princess now. Ning Shen was attempting to catch a bird when TUNHI called him for assistance. Hearing this, he immediately flew to help the princess. However, seeing that he was now facing two opponents, Ngo Duck decided to flee, leaving Ning Shen perplexed. Putting that aside, Ning Shen continued his pursuit of the white crow. Just as he thought he had caught it, a gigantic snake blocked his path, forcing him to engage it in combat. Already irritated, Ning Shen's spirit wouldn't allow him to waste time. He went all out, and after a few moves, the snake was defeated. While cultivating to recover his strength, Ning Shen discovered the transformation dragon fruit that the princess had mentioned earlier. But the palace master and the white crow appeared, ready to challenge him. He figured Ning Shen was in such a sorry state that he could handle him alone, so he sent his white raven to snatch the 3 fruits. But Ning Shen was closer to the tree and easily grabbed them all. He knew that if the raven ate all 3, it would become incredibly powerful. So, Ning Shen played a trick, crushing an orange to tempt the bird. He promised to toss it pieces if it attacked the sect leader. The sect leader, burning with anger, was about to make a move, but was surprisingly stopped by his own raven. Seeing his raven's unexpected obedience, he tossed it a few scraps. Ning Shen took advantage of this distraction and made his escape. Inside a cave, Ning Shen focused on cultivating and recovering his strength before returning to report. After he recounted the events, the princess immediately praised him. Discussing their strategy, the princess agreed that assisting the general was feasible, but they first needed to understand the situation in the imperial capital before acting. She requested that Ning Shen go there to scout the situation and report back. Ning Shen agreed without hesitation and returned to his room to rest before departing the next day. He opened his eyes to find Xiao by his side. She told him they were leaving after dinner, surprising him since he thought they were leaving the following day. Our young man quickly devoured his meal. Xiao noticed a grain of rice on Ning Shen's face and brushed it away. As the two were about to share a potentially intimate moment, someone announced from outside that it was almost time for Ning Shen's departure. Xiao handed him an object, reminding him to use it only in emergencies. That night, the princess entrusted Ning Shen with a jade eagle for protection, and Deputy Luo gave him a sword. After bidding everyone farewell, Ning Shen flew like the wind towards the imperial capital. After flying for some time, just as he was about to infiltrate the city, he was pursued by the White Raven. To make matters worse, he was spotted by guards who unleashed a volley of arrows. Ning Shen skillfully dodged them all and took cover. The guards, now aware of an intruder, sent out search parties. Ning Shen, observing the tight security of the Imperial Guard, suspected treachery. To resolve this immediate problem, he decided to eliminate the White Raven first. Without further thought, he ran out to lure the bird, leaving the finishing blow to Jade Eagle. After punching a guard and seizing his blade, Ning Shen flung it towards the White Raven's wing, bringing it down. Jade Eagle then swiftly finished it off. Just as he was about to escape, An arrow from a guard stopped him in his tracks. Although he dodged that attack, another arrow, shot from a distance, unexpectedly struck him. Suddenly, an arrow struck Ning Shen from out of nowhere, sending him flying into a room. A voice urged him to escape quickly because the vice commander of the Imperial Guard, Shanghai, was approaching. It turned out to be the eldest young master. Ning Shen went to help him escape too, but in a moment of carelessness, the eldest young master stabbed him with a knife. It became clear that he had also fired the earlier arrow. Ning Shen, shocked by the betrayal, wondered why they would capture the princess if the king were truly dead, then collapsed. As the eldest young master prepared to finish him off, another person arrived and intervened. Meanwhile, the Jade Eagle had returned, but Xiao couldn't find Ning Shen. The eagle tried to communicate, but she didn't understand and went to the princess. Hearing the eagle's message, the princess realized the king wasn't dead, but Yi Tang had betrayed them and Ning Shen was in danger. Yi Tang likely knew about the Jade Eagle and used the lie about the king's death to lure her to the imperial capital. Xiao worried about Ning Shen, but the princess assured her he would be safe for now. Although his last words before collapsing were unclear, she reasoned that Yi Tang wouldn't harm him yet, wanting to extract valuable information. The princess anticipated that they would send someone to investigate the mountain estate within 2 days. As long as her whereabouts remained unknown, Ning Shen would be safe. She then ordered Xiao to spread a rumor about a significant discovery at the estate and her presence there. The fact that the rebels hadn't attacked suggested they were being held back. Back with Ning Shen, now a captive, they hadn't found the princess, but they'd heard the rumors of the discovery and her uncertain location. Hearing this, Ning Shen understood that the princess had planted the rumors, realizing he still had a chance. Yi Tang approached him, boasting that not even a fly could escape the prison, its chains forged from 1,000-year-old cold iron. Ning Shen scoffed, acknowledging the quality of the chains, and taunted them to hold on to their lives, for the princess would soon arrive with a secret weapon to rescue him. He moved to strike with a whip, but was stopped by the eldest young master, Da Tang. Furious, he grumbled about Ning Shen's luck. Da Tang approached Ning Shen, saying that if he didn't want to be brutally tortured to death, he'd better confess. He warned that if Ning Shen didn't talk by tomorrow, they would deal with him. They then tried to entice him with promises of fine food and comfortable living if he cooperated. Ning Shen retorted that even if he surrendered, his status would still be higher than theirs. Enraging Da Tang, they ordered the guards to watch him closely and left. Ning Shen thought to himself that if the chains weren't made of 1,000-year-old cold iron, he wouldn't have dared to speak so boldly. He then stood and cultivated, breaking through to level 5. At that moment, the guards brought food and mocked him. Ning Shen snapped the chains, sending the guards sprawling, and flew out of the prison with a steamed bun still in his mouth. Da Tang rushed over and shot arrows at him, but none hit their mark. The remaining guards who charged at him were dealt with in the blink of an eye. Enraged, Da Tang exclaimed that he should have killed Ning Shen sooner and drew his sword, attacking fiercely. However, Ning Shen struck him, causing him to cough up blood. As Ning Shen prepared a finishing blow, another man intervened, forcing him into another duel. This opponent, however, was no match for him. Seeing his disadvantage, Da Tang used a violent origin pill, but was still repelled by Ning Shen. When more guards arrived, Ning Shen, realizing the unfavorable situation, took to the air and used winged frenzy dance to eliminate them. He vowed to take their lives next time and flew away. The remaining men continued their pursuit, leaving Da Tang severely injured. Ning Shen, while flying, spotted the Black Crow Guard and quickly took cover to avoid being seen, reminding himself to be more cautious this time. In the distance, he saw Shang Lan, King Hua Jian Qiu, and was relieved that the king was safe. He wanted to report back to the princess quickly to ease her worries. The Black Crows were still flying, gathering information within the city. Ning Shen noticed a man playing a flute, controlling the flock. He realized that if he eliminated this flute player, the rebels would lose their intelligence network within the city. Elsewhere, soldiers were discussing Nha Wuzu, whose strange behavior of constantly looking at the sky had become a daily occurrence. They commented that if someone could control birds with a flute, they would be treated as honored guests. As their shift ended and they headed back, they saw the flock of birds and thought of Nha Wuzu, assuming he was about to enjoy some special treatment. Meanwhile, Ning Shen had infiltrated the group of soldiers. Another soldier invited him for a few drinks, but he politely declined, claiming he had duties to attend to. Back at the mountain villa, Dio the eagle, returned with news for the princess. They learned that the crows, usually tasked with strict surveillance of the imperial city, were now flocking towards the south gate. The princess, sensing something amiss, suspected they were tracking Ning Shen. Fu La laughed heartily, surprised that Ning Shen had managed to escape. The princess ordered that Yi be informed to entrust the mountain villa to her protection while they headed towards the south gate. Ning Shen, still among the soldiers, noticed a white-haired man wielding dual blades. He deduced that this man was likely Yuan Tianyu, ranked 3rd in the Imperial Guard, and that the other men were the Heavenly Vu Iron Guards. Yuan Tianyu dismounted and began directing the soldiers to their posts. An official stepped out of a carriage accompanied by 2 women, captivating the soldiers' attention. Just as they were admiring the women, they were called away for patrol duty, much to their disappointment. Taking advantage of their distraction, Ning Shen slipped away, only to be spotted by another soldier. Ning Shen took to the air and engaged the soldiers. Arrows rained down on him, but he dodged them effortlessly. He launched an attack with winged frenzy dance, which Yuan Tianyu countered with his dual blades, launching a counter-offensive. Ning Shen swiftly evaded the attack and turned his attention to the official, striking fear into his heart and prompting him to beg for mercy. As Ning Shen approached, intending to finish him off, Lai Guanlan suddenly intervened. He declared that Ning Shen had fallen into a trap, but capturing him proved to be more difficult than anticipated. Ning Shen escaped and flew away as the surrounding soldiers resumed their barrage of arrows. Yuan Tianyu hurled a spear, which Ning Shen caught mid-air, claiming it as his own with no intention of returning it. Inside, the terrified official Nha was paralyzed with fear. As his escorts prepared to take him back, Ning Shen swooped in and attacked, leaving the official no chance of escape. Witnessing this, Lai Guanlan attacked Ning Shen, who dodged the blow and flew off. Seeing Nha Wuzu's flute, they realized he was also dead, meaning there would be no one to control the Black Crows and gather intelligence within the imperial city. Yuan Tianyu picked up the flute and played it, surprisingly attracting the crows. He continued playing, directing the birds to scout the area, while below, the soldiers patrolled vigilantly. Meanwhile, Ning Shen had infiltrated the armory and began cultivating. Elsewhere, Yuan Tianyu and Lai Guanlan discussed the situation, speculating that if Ning Shen hadn't caused enough chaos, he likely wouldn't leave yet. The next morning, as Ning Shen finished his cultivation, he was surprised to see Da Tang. While the night assassin was choosing a weapon, Ning Shen swiftly charged at him, dispatching him with a single spear thrust. As the alerted soldiers came running, Ning Shen made a timely escape, leaving the assassin dead. Elsewhere, hearing the cawing of crows, they knew Ning Shen had infiltrated the camp and killed a general. Seeing the crow's signal in the sky, they realized Ning Shen had been discovered. Le Guanlan immediately gave chase on horseback, while Yuan Tianwu played his flute, directing the crows towards Ning Shen. Just as Ning Shen was making his escape, Nai Hongzhuang, who had been lying in wait, intercepted him, preventing his flight. At that very moment, the princess's group arrived. Seeing Ning Shen in danger, the princess flew to his aid, swiftly bypassing Yang Tianlai who had tried to attack her. Ning Shen, blocked by Nai Hongzhuang, was forced to land. The two attacked him, but he deftly dodged and took to the air again. The princess engaged Nai Hongzhuang in an aerial duel, but Ning Shen swept in, scooped up the princess, and flew them both to safety. The soldiers could only fire arrows in vain, their efforts proving futile and met with a counterattack from the princess. The princess's group unleashed a dragon's roar attack upon them before turning and making their escape. The three pursuers, fearing the group's escape, were about to give chase when Nai Hongzhuang stopped them. Reasoning that the fleeing group was heading west and would likely pass through Hanglong Pass, Yang Tianlai suggested she assist Lei Dongzhao in controlling the Tiger Guard. However, Lei Dongzhao was described as a shrewd and daring individual. If he harbored ambitions of usurping power and shared a common goal with them, he could become a significant threat in the future. Knowing that the internal conflict within the Dragon Guard was intensifying, they planned to manipulate the situation to cause the group's downfall. The Tiger Guard and the Black Prison clashed fiercely. From above, the princess observed Lei Dongzhao, who, despite years of suppression, maintained his composure, though Grand General Wang Shang was equally formidable. She lamented that the Tiger Guard's elite soldiers were no match for the Black Prison Army. The princess found it strange that Lei Dongzhao, despite having numerous skilled subordinates, chose to fight personally and with such haste. This didn't seem like his usual calculated approach. The princess and her group then charged into the battle on horseback. Ningxuan unleashed a dragon's roar, scattering the enemy. Seeing they were outnumbered, the enemy retreated. The general stopped them from pursuing, warning of the Black Prison's dangerous nature. Later, as they discussed the situation, they expressed disbelief at the escalating chaos. The Imperial Guard, one of the Empire's 3 strongest forces, had been betrayed, along with all 4 of the renowned geniuses. General Wang Shang praised Ningxuan and invited him to join the Tiger Guard. While poaching talent in front of the princess seemed inappropriate, perhaps doing so behind her back would be permissible. Ningxuan questioned the general's decision not to pursue Lei Dongzhao. He'd received intelligence that a level 8 Dharma realm demonic beast was hidden within the Black Prison. If Lei Dongzhao wasn't defeated, Nai Hongzhuang and the Dragon Guard would pose an even greater threat. Upon hearing this, the princess proposed an alliance with Lei Dongzhao to eliminate the rebels. Since he was alone, they could join forces with his Black Prison forces to deal with the Dragon Guard. General Wang Shang agreed to the princess's risky plan. He sent a message to Lei Dongzhao, and both sides agreed to negotiate the following noon atop Sunset Peak. Lei Dongzhao's son, Lei Ming, accompanied by the 3 great generals of the Sun, Moon, and Star, would attend the meeting. The general asked the princess to represent him in the negotiations, as the spies within the Tiger Guard hadn't been fully eradicated, and he lacked someone he could completely trust. The princess agreed to go with them. The next morning, Ningxuan awoke to find Xiao Nai gazing at the Tiger Guard's banner. Indeed, Xiao Nai seemed well suited to the tiger, making the nickname Lipstick Tiger quite fitting. Suddenly, the princess approached from behind, revealing that Xiao Nai, with her strong personality and aspirations for a military career, had officially joined the Tiger Guard. Ningxuan was surprised by this news, though it was a long-held dream of Xiao Nai's. Moreover, Xiao Nai seemed to have a natural affinity for tigers, her true Kai originating from the tiger. Perhaps this was Xiao Nai's destiny, and she would be safer here. Ningxuan was moved that his Xiao Nai Jai older sister had achieved her goal. He reminisced about how she had cared for him since he joined the Shanglan royal mansion. He had thought they could fight side by side forever. Xiao Nai then invited him for a walk and a chat. She shared how her father, a former member of the Imperial Guard, was her idol, inspiring her dream of becoming a soldier. She wanted to be a victorious female warrior, and since arriving at the Tiger Guard, she knew she had found her place. She expressed her hope that he would visit her after the chaos in the imperial capital subsided. Back in his room, lost in thought, he was interrupted by the green-haired La Gang, who brought wine and attempted to cheer him up. Sensing Ningxuan's lovesickness, La Gang didn't press him, though Ningxuan, despite his melancholy, put on a brave face and accepted the wine to drown his sorrows. The 2 brothers drank until they were thoroughly intoxicated. Despite his earlier sadness, Ningxuan was ultimately happy that Xiao Nai Jai had joined the Tiger Guard. These 2 brothers were still teasing each other. La Kuang mentioned that while the Hao Yu Guard of the prince's mansion wasn't as renowned as the regular army, it still had a decent reputation. He questioned how they could appoint a seemingly ordinary girl with no apparent background as their commander. However, he acknowledged that she had always been disciplined and harbored a fierce determination that surpassed others. She trained relentlessly, pushing herself to the limit, making it uncomfortable for the men to watch. La Kuang greatly admired Xiao Nai's leadership as a young woman. He noticed that she spent her free time studying military strategy, and that her greatest aspiration was to become the Empire's top female general. He realized how grand Xiao Nai's dream was, contrasting it with Ningxuan's preoccupation with romantic pursuits and disregard for the bigger picture. With that, he excused himself. Meanwhile, Xiao Nai was reminiscing when Ningxuan approached. He embraced her, declaring that when she became the Empire's top female general, he would achieve the status of the world's most exceptional man and return to her. That night, the 4 of them talked. The princess wondered if they would be able to reunite in 10 years. La Kuang reassured her, saying it would definitely happen. Ning Shen jokingly urged La Kuang to have several nephews for him to spoil, but La Kuang retorted that he didn't want Ning Shen stealing his elegant and pure wife. It turned out La Kuang was already in love, but was too shy to express his feelings in a group. After the two sisters left, La Kuang revealed his affection for Yi the princess's handmaiden. He showered her with praise, clearly smitten. Ning Shen teased him further, causing La Kuang to leave. The following day, the tiger guard saw the princess and her group off. Xiao Nai reminded Ning Shen to protect the princess well. The general, learning that Xiao Nai showed signs of a second breakthrough in her true Kai due to the tiger flag, shared its history with her. He explained that the previous emperor, while hunting in the western mountains, encountered a level 7 spirit enlightenment tiger. The tiger flag was modeled after this tiger and dyed with its blood. The previous emperor then established the tiger army, seeking someone with the eye of the tiger to lead them. The princess had instructed Xiao Nai to stay and assist the general. This time, the princess recommended Xiao Nai for the position of Grand Marshal of the Tiger Army. The general appointed her to this prestigious role. As the three were traveling, they were suddenly attacked by Lei Ming. Just as the princess was in danger, Ning Shen arrived in the nick of time and saved her. The princess declared that if they weren't sincere, there was no need for negotiations. However, Lei Ming wanted to hear their conditions. The princess instructed Ning Shen to inform him of the situation in the imperial capital. Knowing the current state of affairs, she argued that if the war continued, the prince would never achieve his ambitions. Lei Ming was skeptical that Nai Hongzhuang had joined the Long Wai Guard and demanded proof. He pointed out that if she hadn't, the sovereign would be in an advantageous position, being able to manipulate both warring factions. When they faced the rebels, they wouldn't have much of a chance. After this, the three departed, leaving Lei Ming and his group to stew in their frustration. As they were traveling, Lei Ming's group was ambushed by Wu De. He claimed to be acting under General Wang Shang's orders to arrest Lei Ming. A fight ensued, but seeing they were outmatched, Lei Ming's group retreated. The princess noticed that Wu De continued to follow them. Lei Ming reported back to his father. Lei Dongtiao observed that Wu De didn't seem to be one of Wang Shang's men and resembled the sly and secretive Hai Lao Guai. He reasoned that if the Tiger Guard truly intended to attack, they would have come with Hua Wan Yu. Lei Dongtiao was enraged that Hai Lao Guai dared to target his son. He then instructed Lei Ming to write a letter to Wang Shang. If he captured and delivered Wu De, he would cease hostilities. Recently, Lei Dongtiao had fought 13 battles with Wang Shang and felt close to a breakthrough. He believed that once he reached level 8 of the Spirit Enlightenment realm and absorbed the demon beast, he would be unrivaled. At the Tiger Guard headquarters, Wang Shang was furious upon learning of Wu De's betrayal. He was shocked that Wu De had broken through to level 7 of the Spirit Enlightenment realm. The 3,000 soldiers led by Wu De had seemingly vanished without a trace. The last sighting placed them on the road to Bai Liu Mountain Manor. Wang Shang realized that Wu De, emerging from hiding, knew about their negotiations with the Black Prison, implying the presence of a spy within their ranks. Ning Shen, wanting to strike first, inquired about advantageous hiding spots and learned that the western mountains were the most suitable. The princess then devised a plan. As they searched for Wu De, the three of them made a competition out of who could find him first. La Kuang was admiring his reflection in a mirror when he saw something flash past. He gave chase and suddenly a peacock appeared. He was surprised by his own spontaneous creation of a martial arts technique. Just then, Wu De appeared and charged towards him. He quickly realized he'd fallen into a trap. Ning Shen arrived on the scene. Wu De admitted to killing the 3,000 soldiers, and the two exchanged martial arts blows. La Kuang was knocked down by Wu De. Just as he was in danger, Ning Shen rushed in to help. La Kuang grabbed Wu De's leg, giving Ning Shen an opening to attack. Ning Shen warned La Kuang to get clear or risk getting caught in the crossfire. Wu De, struck by Ning Shen's attack, spat out blood. Enraged, he drew his sword, and the fight continued. Hearing a dragon's roar, the princess rushed towards the scene to find the two young men overwhelming Wu De. Seeing the princess alone, Wu De charged towards her. She fell into a ravine, and Ning Shen flew to save her. He was just inches from grasping her hand when Wu De intervened. Seeing the princess fall and unable to do anything, he furiously attacked Wu De, whose strength surprised him. Suddenly, the princess flew back up, drawing her sword and slashing at Wu Di. Seeing the situation turn against him, Wu Di quickly fled. The princess stopped the two men from pursuing him and released Dio her eagle, to scout the area. Ning Shen then spoke to the princess about their different social standings and how they now fought side by side. She dismissed the importance of status, recounting how she witnessed her father rise to a position of great power, only to become distant and preoccupied. Ning Shen understood that the princess longed for the simple joys of an ordinary life. He expressed his desire to travel across the divine continent, exploring its landscapes until he reached the pinnacle of his strength, at which point he would reunite with them. At that moment, while they were cultivating, Ning Shen jumped down. He sensed potent spiritual energy within the rock. After cultivating for just an hour, his true Kai had more than doubled, surpassing even the results of a night's arduous cultivation in the armory. He used his diamond hand to try and break the rock to see what was inside, but it didn't leave a single mark. He flew in for a punch, but the princess arrived and told him to utilize the rock for cultivation. Over at the encampment, bodies lay scattered like fallen grain. Ingar H. Letter 183 NG Trang questioned an elder about the cave's structure. Learning that the cave could conceal over 60,000 people, with 4 interconnected passages, nothing flammable inside, and multiple air vents, she considered several options. Equipped with some dust-absorbing crystals, the elder suggested smoking them out, but after entering, realized it was impossible. Ngar H. Letter 183 NG Trang then proposed using water from the Dong Nguy Letter 1EC7T river to drown the soldiers inside. General Qin found this excessively cruel, as they were elite soldiers of the empire. Despite this, Ngar H. Letter 183 NG Trang ordered Thiern Vu to mobilize 50,000 troops and commence the operation. Back with Ning Shen, the cowardly La Kuang refused to jump down, yelling for the other two to come back up. At that moment, Ti Letter 1EC3 U Diru returned. La Kuang reported receiving a secret message from the Black Prison outlining the terms for their cooperation with the Loi D-Stroke Letter 189 NG Tiru, the capture of Ngo D-Stroke Letter 1E9C. Upon hearing this from Ti Letter 1EC3 U Diru, the princess reminded them to act together at the hour of the dragon between 7 and 9 and the next day. The following morning, Ning Shen, after cultivating a new sword technique, which he named Swift Hand Sword Cu Letter 1EA5 TTH Letter 1E7K I Letter 1EBFM, finally managed to break the rock open. The three then entered the frigid cave. The princess recognized it as the Black Prison, a place of intense cold and echoing with ghostly wails, the hallmark of the Black Prison. Due to its brutal nature, the Black Prison, with only 30,000 soldiers, could hold their own against 100,000 elite Tiger Guard. Ning Shen wanted to explore further, but La Kuang stopped him, warning that provoking the Loi D-Stroke Letter 189 NG Tiru would be troublesome. The princess suggested they deploy a detachment of Tiger Guard there for training, so that in future conflicts, they could launch attacks from this hidden location, catching their enemies off guard. Meanwhile, Ngo D-Stroke Letter 1E9C, believing himself to have the upper hand, envisioned himself as the founding minister of the new empire. The princess and her group arrived and initiated combat. Ning Shen's attacks frightened Ngo D-Stroke Letter 1E9C into a panicked retreat. The princess engaged Ngo D-Stroke Letter 1E9C one-on-one. Finding her a formidable opponent, he turned to challenge Ning Shen, but proved no match for him either. Attempting to flee again, he was struck down. General Qin arrived just in time to finish him off. Hearing screams from within the cave, they rushed in and found the Gemini twins, marked by symbols on their foreheads. As HUY Letter 1EC1N Fong emerged, Ning Shen blocked him. The two were now linked by fate. La Kuang urged Ning Shen to let HUY Letter 1EC1N Fong go, and then explained the whole story. La Kuang had heard cries for help and, upon investigating, was pulled into the process of becoming a Gemini twin. 2 individuals were required for this transformation. Upon becoming Gemini twins, they would receive an inheritance related to them. La Kuang resolved to refine this power and then duel HUY Letter 1EC1N Fong. The victor would survive and inherit everything from the defeated twin, including their talent, potential, physique, and power. The loser, however, was destined to die. At the Tiger Guard headquarters, Ning Shen reported that Ngo D-Stroke Letter 1E9C had been handed over to Loi Min, and that the black prison had been sealed as promised. Their next task was to prepare to assist the Dragon Guard. They needed to coordinate their efforts internally and externally, minimizing the Tiger Guard's overt involvement to guard against potential treachery from the black prison. General Vuong Fuong assigned Ning Shen the task of contacting the Dragon Guard's Grand General. Ning Shen set off on horseback but encountered Ngar H-183 Ng Trang. Her presence there led him to suspect that the Dragon Guard was in danger. He immediately flew off to find Loi Thiern Long, but Ngar H-183 Ng Trang used an umbrella to pull him back. They fought an inconclusive duel until the princess arrived. Defeating the princess was Ngar H-183 Ng Trang's primary objective. Tired of talking, the two women resorted to a physical confrontation. Noticing Ngar H-183 Ng Trang signaling for reinforcements, Ning Shen quickly flew off and redirected the signal. The arriving troops found no one, realizing they'd fallen for an empty city stratagem. Meanwhile, a group gathered in front of the cave. Ning Shen flew in to attack. An arrow flew towards him, which he narrowly dodged. He sensed a 9th level commander realm presence. It was L1E5C Than Tri. Enraged, he flung an arrow towards him. The man, surprisingly weak, couldn't deflect it and was struck down. Then, he unleashed a furious flurry of attacks upon the soldiers. He noticed Qin Lai's unusual charisma, given that so many were willing to fight and die for him. He lunged, intending to kill the traitor, but lost his chance. He then flew into a cave. Outside, Lu Qingchai's wounds had been healed by Le Guanlin. He saw Ning Shen as a significant wildcard. If they didn't deal with Ning Shen quickly, they risked losing their opportunity. Stunned by Ning Shen's cultivation speed, the two plotted to eliminate him. Inside the cave, Ning Shen and Luo Jinri arrived. Ning Shen presented Wang Shang, the general's letter to him. The Tiger Guard and the Black Prison had temporarily ceased fighting. The plan was for the Dragon Guard to attack Qin Lai's rebels from both inside and out. Once both armies had gathered outside, it would be the perfect opportunity to launch a counterattack. The general, however, refused to cooperate. As Ning Shen tried to reason with him, he was captured. Ning Shen was locked in a cell. Luo Jinyi advised him against rash actions, warning that any internal chaos would create an opportunity for the rebels outside. Ning Shen found the general's approach conservative, but Luo Jinri urged him not to provoke him. Hearing this, Ning Shen suspected there were other internal factors at play. Outside, the rebels were diverting water to flood the cave, also seeing this as a chance to kill Ning Shen. They planned to flood the cave early the next morning. Inside, Ning Shen wondered why Lei Tianlong would reject the proposed plan. Luo Jinri approached, informing him that Lei Tianlong intended to follow his own plan, dashing any remaining hope. Ning Shen tried to explain that despite their superior numbers and strength, the soldiers had chosen to retreat into the cave. He argued that they were elite troops, a powerful force on the battlefield despite their smaller numbers, and the general valued them. Luo Jinyi advised him against attempting to escape, warning of the dangers. Ning Shen decided to wait through the night, planning to consider escape only if there was no explanation by morning. Aware of the impending flood, they came to take Ning Shen to a special location. They told him he would understand why the general chose to fight the rebels alone. Ning Shen couldn't believe they were facing 40,000 troops and numerous experts. Before him stood the Black Dragon Guard, a force of over 1,000 strong. Suddenly, the cave began to shake. The flooding had begun. Elsewhere, the two princesses remained locked in combat, neither able to gain an advantage. The key to victory lay with the Dragon Guard. The two women watched from above. As the water poured down, one princess believed victory was certain, but the other remained confident that Lei Tianlong had a plan. Ning Shen was stunned. They had unleashed the Black Flood Dragon, an 8th stage spirit-severing beast, to slaughter the rebels. The terrified rebels fled, only to be sucked into the dragon's gaping maw. Lei Tianlong flew down and severed the chains restraining the beast. Despite its ferocious and vicious nature, the Black Flood Dragon was only capable of engaging the rebels. Inside the cave, Luo Jinyi explained that they would wait until the rebels had severely wounded the Black Flood Dragon, leaving both sides weakened. Then, they could achieve victory without fighting. He revealed that a tunnel within the cave connected to an underground water vein, protecting them from the flood. Ning Shen realized Lei Tianlong was gambling with his life. If the Black Flood Dragon went out of control, the consequences would be unimaginable. Outside, the sovereign arrived to confront the Black Flood Dragon. It turned out he had been in secluded cultivation, emerging only now. He possessed the ability to draw upon the power of heaven and earth. While the Black Flood Dragon wielded the power of water, the sovereign commanded the power of wind and could even summon heavenly lightning. The sovereign engaged the Black Flood Dragon in battle. Seeing this, Lei Tianlong flew forward to intervene, sword in hand, but was swiftly defeated by the sovereign. The sovereign then struck, cleaving the Black Flood Dragon in two. Inside the cave, the others opened the entrance, ready to fight. After the battle, bodies lay scattered like fallen stalks of rice. The Lei Tianlong group rushed to rescue the survivors, only to be met by another wave of soldiers who attacked them relentlessly. Ning Shen stood to the side, observing the increasingly grim battle. Seeing the dire situation, he summoned his wings and flew into the fray, engaging the enemy leader. The Lei Tianlong group also charged forward, aiming to eliminate him. Meanwhile, the princess was locked in combat with a woman in red. The woman was no match for the princess and was quickly defeated, landing face first on the ground. The remaining soldiers, searching for their general, spotted Ning Shen in the distance, needing assistance. Their leader ordered half of his men to continue the search while he led the other half to Ning Shen's aid. Back in the thick of the fight, Ning Shen unleashed a flurry of attacks with his 9-winged sword. He followed up with the winged frenzy assault, injuring all the soldiers in its path. Seeing Ning Shen's energy waning, the enemy leader seized the opportunity and lunged at him. Instead of his sword, Ning Shen drew a dagger to duel the leader. He flew back to create distance, but a barely alive soldier grabbed his foot, immobilizing him. He narrowly avoided the leader's blow, thanks to timely assistance, and with a single move, he brought the leader down. Exhausted from the fight, Ning Shen collapsed, only to be caught by the princess, landing in her arms. "Oh, how nice," he thought. Mid-flight, he spotted the general below. Upon landing, he found the general dead, but clutching a jade stone and the name of a sect master. Ning Shen suspected that the sect master still had agents infiltrated within the Donghua guard. 2 soldiers carried away the general's body for burial. Ning Shen and the commander discussed the jade stone found on the general. Some matters within the empire's nobility, while seemingly unusual to outsiders, were common knowledge within the military, where such exceptions to the rules were not tolerated and could even be considered treasonous. He'd also heard rumors that the jade stone could allow a woman to disguise herself as a man, fooling everyone. The scene shifted to the Lei Tianlong camp. The woman in red, furious at her inability to defeat Ning Shen and his group, produced an item that could drastically alter the 2 commanders' physiques, allowing them to achieve a breakthrough and reach the 6th level of the Tongling realm. However, consuming it would cause excruciating pain for 2 hours and even pose a life-threatening risk. If they survived, their future cultivation path would be greatly enhanced. She further incentivized them by promising access to the Forbidden Guard's library, where they could choose any item they desired upon successful breakthrough. Meanwhile, Ning Shen reflected on the power he'd been granted. He felt that if he had such strength and opportunity, he would protect all living beings. As he prepared to leave, his left hand grew hot, and a red line appeared. Following it into the forest, he realized it was a result of the dragon transformation fruit. Continuing along the path, he encountered a strange fragment and, using his abilities, attempted to control it. Oddly, he felt a sense of relief after the fragment vanished. He continued searching for any other valuables left behind from the battle between the sect master and the Black Gyao. Upon reaching the site, he found even the Gyio's core had been extracted. Judging by this, the sect master must have been severely injured, presenting a prime opportunity to eliminate him. Fearing the bird from earlier would devour the Gyio's remains, Ning Shen dragged the carcass away and hid it. He then set off in search of the sect master, but despite searching for half a day, he found no trace. After absorbing the essence of the Black Gyio into his hand, he tested the strength of his punch, pleased to discover its effectiveness. He planned to ambush the bird when it returned but waited in vain. Perhaps it had sensed his plan. Having waited in vain, he decided to leave and noticed a strong emanation of essence Kai in the distance. He spread his wings and flew towards it, only to find a cliff face. He landed to investigate and made a discovery. Not wanting to waste the opportunity, he sat down to cultivate. After some time, he finally broke through to the 6th level of the Tongling realm. Not wanting to waste any more time, he settled down to continue cultivating. Then, through some unknown guidance, he was compelled to lift the rock he had been sitting on, revealing a hidden cave. Entering the cave, he felt a sense of familiarity. Further in, he discovered a stone tablet. As he approached, strands of immortal Kai flowed from the tablet and entered his body. He realized it was the true Kai of the nine-winged sword. Could the person who inscribed these characters have also possessed mutated true Kai like him? He channeled his own energy into the tablet and began to cultivate. Astonishingly, after only a short period, his true Kai tripled in strength. The 8 characters on the tablet contained immense power, and were placed there for a purpose suppression. It was clear he couldn't venture deeper. He exited the cave and replaced the rock, sealing the entrance. He pondered the implications of the sealed mountain being breached. The imperial capital would become a living hell. He quickly flew back to inform Xiao about this discovery. On his way back, he encountered the Sect Master. He mocked the Sect Master, saying, "With your cultivation at the 8th level of the Donghua realm, capable of soaring like a bird, why are you walking?" Enraged, the Sect Master sought to eliminate Ningxuan. Ningxuan, not to be outdone, and fueled by his recent awakening, also desired to kill the Sect Master. The two clashed fiercely. Despite his injuries, the Sect Master quickly gained the upper hand, beating Ningxuan badly. He was beaten until he coughed up blood, and then mocked for being so weak. Infuriated, Ningxuan retorted, "We'll see who's the real cat and who's the mouse." They lunged at each other again. Ningxuan managed to grab his opponent's arm, throw him, and then unleash a barrage of attacks. Seeing that his efforts weren't very effective and his own strength was dwindling, he realized continuing like this wouldn't work. He stopped attacking and flew off to seek help. The black prison gate wasn't far, and he decided to ask Xiao Jai's older sister Xiao for assistance. Upon reaching her, Ningxuan collapsed from exhaustion. Xiao Jai helped him up and listened as he recounted the events, pleading for her help in killing the Sect Master. She gave him medicine and advised him to rest and recover, assuring him that she would handle the rest. Ningxuan explained that the portal didn't lead to the Black Prison, but to the extremely dangerous Forbidden Dark Grounds, urging her not to go. He then insisted she send someone to the Tiger Guard to summon the Grand General to help him kill the Sect Master. Xiao Jai sighed, explaining that reaching the Tiger Guard would take days, making it impossible. However, she revealed she had recently grasped a powerful divine art from the majestic tiger, enabling her to fight. She then gathered her soldiers, and together they transformed into a giant tiger, much to Ningxuan's surprise. She warned him that this newly acquired technique couldn't be maintained for long, so they needed to leave immediately. They set off to find the Sect Master. Upon arriving, Ningxuan thought he had escaped, but the Sect Master suddenly appeared from behind and attacked. Just as he was about to launch another blow, the giant tiger sent him flying. Seizing the opportunity, Ningxuan and the others attacked, managing to sever one of the Sect Master's fingers. Seeing this, the Sect Master fled, and Ningxuan pursued him. Using I1EC3M D-stroke, I1EC7N Kai D-stroke I1ED3NG lightning flash Kai attack, he sent the Sect Master tumbling to the ground, seemingly unconscious. But as Ningxuan approached to finish him off, the Sect Master sprang up and jumped into the water. Ningxuan was left bewildered, realizing he had been tricked. Unable to swim, Ningxuan couldn't pursue. He wondered why the Sect Master would risk swimming while injured, especially in a river where maintaining a perfect form was crucial. Wasn't he afraid of being followed? Unless had he guessed Ningxuan's fear of water. Ningxuan perched on a tree branch, waiting to see how long the Sect Master could hold his breath. He waited and waited, but the Sect Master didn't resurface. Had he drifted downstream and escaped? Suddenly, Ningxuan felt the familiar blood resonance in his hand. He suspected there was black Jiao flesh and blood nearby. It turned out to be Bai Wuya, the gluttonous bird, who had eaten the black Jiao's remains, triggering the resonance. Just as Ningxuan was about to catch the pesky bird, a group of soldiers from the archer unit arrived with General Lai Qingshi. The bird, having located the Sect Master, flew down and revealed all of Ningxuan's secrets to the general. Lai Qingshi then sent some soldiers to investigate. They dove into the water but found nothing. Ningxuan waited all night, growing increasingly sleepy. By morning, another group arrived, carrying a palanquin. Suddenly, someone emerged from the water and entered the palanquin. Ning Shen, seeing this, launched an attack towards the palanquin, but his blow was blocked. To his surprise, it wasn't the sect master who emerged, but Lai Shanghai. The surrounding guards rushed to attack Ning Shen, but he held them off, fighting all three of them alone, fearless and undaunted. In the midst of the battle, the sect master finally emerged from the water. Ning Shen saw him trying to charge forward, but was intercepted by a guard. The sect master then summoned lightning to attack Ning Shen, retreated towards the palanquin, and ordered his men to kill him. They swarmed Ning Shen, leaving him surrounded with no escape. Seeing the palanquin being carried away, Ning Shen took flight, using Wing Frenzy Dance D letter 1 EF1C CU letter 1 ED3 NG Vu to attack the soldiers, and then flew towards the palanquin. The soldiers below all raised their bows and fired at him. Ning Shen used his wings like blades, deflecting the arrows. But as he neared the palanquin, Bai Wuya, the bird, attacked him, sending him crashing into the cliff face. The soldiers seized the opportunity and fired at him, wounding him. Lai Shanghai flew in to attack, but Ning Shen dodged. Mid-flight, a surprise attack erupted from the water, which Ning Shen managed to block, but the impact sent him flying back. He realized it was Zhang Liu Yuan. Ning Shen used his words to sow doubt among the soldiers, shaking their resolve. Lai Shanghai, unwilling to let him continue, charged at Ning Shen, but he was no match and was quickly defeated. The soldiers, seeing this, resumed their attack on Ning Shen. He continued his pursuit of the sect master, but upon reaching the supposed location, he discovered it was another decoy. He flew back towards the lake. As he stood there, pondering the situation, Zhang Liu Yuan arrived, riding the bird. With just a few words, Ning Shen managed to manipulate Zhang Liu Yuan into such a state of self-torment that he slammed his head against the ground, cracking his forehead. Witnessing this, Bai Wuya decided to fly back and report what had happened. Seeing this, he immediately gave chase, wanting to catch it. As it flew, it taunted Ning Shen, daring him to catch it. Infuriated, Ning Shen plunged his sword through its heart, finally bringing it down. "So you dared to provoke me, huh?" he thought triumphantly, pleased to have slain the insolent bird. Just then, dragon claws appeared on his hands, seemingly a dragon's claw mark. Not giving it much thought, he sheathed his sword and left. Returning to Zhang Lian, he found the man had stabbed himself in the leg, seemingly to control himself, and had fallen unconscious. Ning Shen waited until evening for him to awaken. Once Zhang Lian was free from whatever had controlled him, Ning Shen questioned him about the sect leader, but he claimed to know nothing. The two then spent a considerable amount of time discussing national affairs. Back at the camp, Ning Shen discussed strategies with the others on how to deal with the sect leader and the issue of his control over people. Ning Shen, along with the princess and Xiao discovered the enemy's hideout and began to mobilize. The three of them stormed the place, attacking Lei Qianlong's group. Ning Shen scoffed, remarking that such a small number wasn't even worth fighting. The woman in red was surprised, demanding to know how the princess had discovered their location. Ning Shen simply replied that there was nowhere he couldn't find, then proceeded to cut down the soldiers. The princess reminded him to focus on finding the sect leader, then launched herself into a fierce battle with the woman in red. Ning Shen flew into the mansion without alerting anyone. Just as he was about to search for the sect leader, a metal cage suddenly appeared, trapping him. He realized he had fallen into their trap, and that Zhang Lian had been feigning ignorance to create this opportunity. The enemy erupted in triumphant laughter, believing they had finally captured him. However, Ning Shen remained calmly seated, shocking everyone. He roared outwards, telling the princess to stop fighting as their reinforcements hadn't arrived yet. Hearing this, his forces disengaged and retreated, surprising the red-clad woman. Inside the cage, Ning Shen calmly cultivated, seemingly oblivious to his predicament. Later, the enemy's forces finally arrived in full force, but so did Wang Shang's army. It turned out Ning Shen's capture was a deliberate ploy to buy time. Seeing this, Zhang Lian ordered his men to fire arrows, but Ning Shen soared into the air, pushing the cage back and launching a counterattack. Xiao also joined the fray, fiercely attacking the enemy soldiers. Ning Shen then engaged Zhang Lian in a one-on-one duel, forcing him to flee. He pursued Zhang Lian, but the man escaped by jumping into the water. Returning to his side, Ning Shen received further instructions from Wang Sheng. Ning Shen sat pondering the lack of any information about the sect leader when Xiao approached. She comforted him and reminded him to take care of himself. Touched, he embraced her. Passing soldiers, witnessing the scene, quickly averted their eyes and hurried away. He took her hand and invited her for a walk. As they strolled, he reminisced about their carefree days together in the royal mansion. She clasped his hand and told him that with great power comes great responsibility, encouraging him to persevere because she would always be there for him. Deeply moved by her words, he affirmed his resolve to find and eliminate the sect leader, acknowledging the difficulty but emphasizing his determination. Noticing the tension in her face, he worried he had said something wrong. She quickly clarified, pointing out that he had even defeated a 7th-level Tongyu realm expert, so what was there to fear? He then jokingly, yet perhaps revealingly, admitted that despite his strength, he was still afraid of a tigress. She playfully pinched his nose, scolding him for comparing her to a tigress. He certainly had some nerve, earning him a perfect 10 for boldness. "I wouldn't dare say that," the narrator quipped. The two then chased each other playfully around the garden. After their playful chase, they sat beneath a tree, discussing the people they had transformed. Ning Shen suspected the sect leader might be among them and planned to investigate. Early the next morning, his stomach rumbled with hunger, prompting him to seek food. As he reached the door, Xiao entered with good news. They had successfully captured the southern city gate, precisely as planned. She gave him various instructions and then sent a message to the princess via bird. Ning Shen embraced her before departing. She watched him go, silently praying for his safety. Upon receiving the news, the princess rejoiced. Ning Shen's arrival at the western gate caught the guards completely off guard. When questioned, he declared his intention to seize the city. Observing him alone, the commanding officer, believing him an easy target, gleefully ordered his archers to fire. Ning Shen effortlessly deflected the incoming arrows. As he prepared to charge, Nai Hongzhuang appeared, and the two engaged in combat. She proved to be no match for him. A single blow sent her flying. Soldiers rushed forward to attack Ning Shen, providing cover for Nai Hongzhuang's escape, but he kicked them back, sending them sprawling and coughing up blood. He then punched the commanding officer, sending him crashing to the ground, before swiftly dispatching the remaining soldiers. Just then, Shang Wang's forces arrived. Ning Shen assisted in the assault, helping to breach the gate and enter the city. He left General Luo in charge of the situation and flew off in pursuit of Nai Hongzhuang. Upon catching up to her, she threatened him using the people within the royal palace as leverage, infuriating him. At that moment, Zhang Liuyuan appeared. After a brief confrontation, he drew his sword and attacked. He was horrified to witness soldiers impaling civilians. Still reeling from the shock, Ning Shen was caught off guard when Zhang Liuyuan lunged forward, stabbing him. The sight of the murdered civilians triggered a flashback to his childhood, where he was bullied relentlessly, finding solace only in the care and guidance of his grandfather. Wiping away his tears, Ning Shen rose and confronted Zhang Liuyuan, who laughed cruelly, declaring it was too late for anyone, and ordered his men to continue the slaughter. Ning Shen immediately intervened, stopping the carnage. Nai Hongzhuang and her followers then attempted to kill him, but he swiftly defeated them, leaving them battered and broken. Zhang Liuyuan tried to flee, but was captured by Ning Shen, who used him as a hostage, threatening to kill him if the soldiers didn't stand down. Hesitant at first, they eventually released their captives. Nai Hongzhuang demanded the release of her prisoners, but the princess arrived with her soldiers at that moment. The princess expressed her disappointment in General Nai, revealing her tactics as mere cheap tricks to gain an advantage. As she spoke, Ning Shen released Zhang Liuyuan only to swiftly run him through with his sword, sending him to meet his ancestors. He then turned his attention to Nai Hongzhuang, who dodged his attack and used a black rose to enhance her power. Her body transformed completely black as she commanded her soldiers to attack. She and Ning Shen clashed fiercely, their weapons flying. Despite consuming the black rose, she was still no match for him, and she and her soldiers attempted to retreat. Ning Shen, now exhausted, realized he couldn't underestimate Nai Hongzhuang's power, which had now surpassed even Lai Shanghai's. He overheard her telling the princess that Lai Guanlan and Yun Tianwu likely originated from the training ground that produced the 17 elite warriors, and that several of the capital's defending generals were also highly suspicious, explaining how they were able to seize control so quickly. Lost in thought, Ning Shen was approached by Luo Gang, who encouraged him to regain his fighting spirit and defend the capital against the rebels. Ning Shen pondered the sect master's motives for leading the rebellion despite his high cultivation level, suspecting a lust for power and the desire to rule the Great Wu Empire. As they walked, Ning Shen noticed Luo Gang, only at level 5, could already manifest a peacock form, an ability usually reserved for level 6. Thanks to Wang Shang's guidance, Luo Gang expected to reach level 6 soon and was determined to have a life-or-death battle with Xuan Feng. Ning Shen walked, lost in thought, hoping La Kuang could quickly achieve a breakthrough and deal with the traitor Haiyan Fong. The princess, having overheard him, joined him, and they continued walking and talking. La Kuang, though trained by her father, was arrogant and unwilling to improve, hindering his cultivation progress. However, he possessed undeniable natural talent and, driven by a recent major setback, had now thrown himself into training. Despite this, the princess didn't hold much hope for him. She told Ning Shen that she'd received news that Lai Thuonghai had retreated his forces, allowing them to capture 2 gates in the southwest of the city. The western defenses had also been reinforced, but the enemy possessed many powerful experts. She urged him to quickly break through to the 7th level of the Tongyu realm to improve their chances of victory. Ning Shen then mentioned certain special metals that could aid his cultivation, and the princess led him to a vault. Inside, he found an array of weapons excavated from ruins. Though chipped and worn, they possessed incredible flexibility and remained remarkably sharp. These swords and blades contained the special metals he needed to accelerate his training. Ning Shen began cultivating immediately and swiftly reached the 7th level of the Tongyu realm. He was now confident that, barring the appearance of the sect master, few could match him. The princess rejoiced at his success, knowing their next plan would proceed more smoothly. She then led him to the ancestral hall where the royal consort was enshrined and presented him with a sword. She expressed her hope that he would use it to vanquish all darkness within the Daivu Empire. As Ning Shen held the peerless blade, he felt a strange, almost destined connection to it. The sword, originally a birthday gift for the princess, she felt was better suited for Ning Shen. She named it the 9-linked Ta-slaying sword. With this treasured blade in hand, Ning Shen felt empowered, his strength amplified. The princess also prepared 3 additional valuable items for him. Ning Shen, overwhelmed by her generosity, felt unsure how to repay her. Playfully, she remarked that if she ever found herself wandering the world, she hoped he would take her with him, leaving him momentarily speechless. Later, she led him to a lotus pond, where a single blossom had bloomed after many years, and offered it to him, believing it could aid his enlightenment. That night, Ning Shen examined the lotus, noting the unusual vein patterns on its petals, which resembled flowing sword energy. The next day, La Kuang came to inform Ning Shen of his imminent departure. Preferring not to disturb the princess during her closed-door cultivation, he expressed his hope that his affairs wouldn't affect her. Ning Shen saw La Kuang off, entrusting him with a sword until his return. That night, Ning Shen dreamt of La Kuang being slain by Haiyan Fong. He awoke abruptly to news that Vuong Thuong had devised a new strategy, to abandon the 2 southwestern city gates and launch a direct assault on the imperial city. Ning Shen waited for the princess to complete her breakthrough before reporting La Kuang's departure and Trang Fong's advance with the Black Dragon Guard against the rebels. Amidst the intense fighting within the city, Ning Shen flew to the scene and found the prince gravely wounded by Engi Hong Trang. At that moment, both sides clashed, while Lan Than Sun engaged Engi Hong Trang in single combat. As they exchanged blows, Ning Shen flew in to attack Engi Hong Trang. She was shocked that someone at the 7th level of the Tongyu realm could match her. The onlookers were astonished when he defeated her with a single move. The name Ning Shen sounded familiar. They realized he was a Hao and Guide guard of the princess. He then unleashed the 9-winged sword link attack, an unstoppable force against her. As she fell, Lan Than Sun moved in to finish off the rest, but Ning Shen repelled him. Lan Than Sun was surprised to find such a skilled warrior among the princess's Hao and Gaiet guard. Inside the palace, Lan Than Sun reported to General Vuong Thuong, who had led the dragon and tiger guards outside the city to fight the rebels. They had been saved, thanks to Ningxuan single-handedly holding back Engi Hongtrang's rebel forces. Lan Than's son lavishly praised Ningxuan before everyone. Outside, as they spoke, Lan Than's son approached Ningxuan to congratulate him, informing him that the emperor would bestow a handsome reward. He learned that the sword-wielding woman was the emperor's concubine, and the man with the saber was her younger brother. Both were on the verge of reaching the 7th level of the Tongyu realm, and they were the masterminds behind the chaos within the palace. Meanwhile, Engi Hongtrang's group searched for Thuong Lan Vuong but couldn't find him. The crowd of Scarlet Robe rebels gossiped about Lu Qingchai and Zhang Lian, both of whom had been killed by Ningxuan. They noted the exceptional talent emerging within the Haoyu Guard, particularly the strongest warrior, Ningxuan, along with Xiao and Luo Gang. Both sides prepared for battle once more, with the Scarlet Robes eager to eliminate Ningxuan as quickly as possible. Ningxuan urged the second young master to quickly open the city gates for the Grand General. He argued that continued stalemate would put them at a disadvantage. Inside the Imperial Palace, hesitation reigned. They feared opening the gates would allow the rebels to flood in, overwhelming them before they could react. Outside, the Scarlet Robes believed the Imperial Palace was already theirs for the taking. Eliminating Ningxuan, they reasoned, would secure the empire for them. Ningxuan suddenly took flight, attacking the rebels with a flurry of blows from his 9-winged sword. Upon hearing news of the rebel retreat, His Majesty issued a decree, bestowing upon Ningxuan the title of Divine Sword Marquis. Learning of this, Scarlet Robe exchanged heated words with Ningxuan before the two clashed once more in single combat. Forced back by Ningxuan's assault, she quickly brought out a flute and began to play, while Ningxuan focused on recovering his strength to withstand the next wave of attacks. At that moment, the Tiger Guard and Dragon Guard arrived to defend the Emperor. While the battle raged outside, shouts erupted from within the palace an assassin. As the Emperor's life hung in the balance, Ningxuan instantly reacted, using his lightning flash combat technique to subdue the attacker, who was subsequently captured. Outside, the arrival of reinforcements quickly routed the rebel forces, forcing Scarlet Robe and her two companions to flee. In the aftermath, the Emperor approached Wang Shang, bestowing upon him the title of Grand Marshal, granting him command of the entire imperial army. Wang Shang, surprised, learned of Ningxuan's new title as Divine Sword Marquis. Crowds gathered to congratulate both men, showering them with praise. Meanwhile, Ningxuan stood alone, lost in thought, when the princess approached, teasing him playfully. As the two conversed, a man in green arrived, reporting the eunuch's suicide. With him, it seemed, died any leads they might have had. The three resolved to work together on their next course of action. The princess, recognizing the strange flower as a troubling, unresolved mystery, recalled hearing of a strange occurrence within the palace just before the upheaval in the capital. All the horses in the royal stables had died mysteriously overnight, their bodies covered in black blood. This concludes the film, I Am the Only God. Thank you for watching. If you have any feedback or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section. Goodbye, and see you in the next video.